Greetings and welcome to another Warhammer 40,000 Kill Team video, where today I'm covering the new reveal of the Kill Team box, Blood and Zeal. But before we get into things, please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, and a affiliate link at Element Games, and an affiliate link and discount code at Crossfire Games, as well as a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. But yeah, if you weren't aware, on Saturday just gone by, Games Workshop randomly revealed the next Kill Team box, which is Blood and Zeal. So I'll be going over that today, covering the reveal article as well as some other tidbits, and going over why people shouldn't get so disappointed about rumors. But as I said, the new box has been announced and it's called Blood and Zeal. And once again, it's still set on Hivestorm, as the entire season will be, and it features an Imperial Ecclesiarchy team versus World Eater cultists. So let's look into it from the Warhammer community article. So starting off, they talk about how it's getting closer to fire the big gun on Vulcus, and as a result, they're now escorting the ammunition across the planet. But as they do so, it has now been ambushed by Khorne cultists who want to detonate it in the city, whereas the Imperial missionaries escorting it obviously want to protect it, because on Vulcus they consider this like a holy weapon, and every time it fires it's a holiday, so they treat the ammunition as like a sanctified kind of speciality. So you've got, imagine like the truckloads of giant ammunition being taken to the great gun, where everyone's cheering, waving it on, thinking it's a glorious day gifted by the Emperor, and of course the Khorne people just want to blow it all up, so then everyone dies. First up, we have the Sanctifiers. So these are the Ecclesiarchy kill team. They are led by a confessor who is effectively part of what it seems like an 11 model kill team, and the best way to describe it, imagine the confessor as the hype man, the hype master, if you will, and he goes around hyping up the word of the Emperor, hyping everyone else around. So he kind of has this congregation of people also kind of trying to either hype everyone else up or getting hyped up themselves, all about how great the Emperor is. So he's basically an Imperial priest, a big priest, if you will. You can see his giant metallic Pope hat, and he has a giant mace, which is nice, and a book, because he likes to read. But it's a nice refresh. It's simple yet detailed. As you can see, like those robe thingies with the embroidery, that's all hand painted, which is depressing because I won't do that, but it's still a very nice model. Then we have a cherub with a taser, which will, you know, every time you charge someone, scream, "Don't tase me, bro," which is nice. But it does mean they have weapons now. So does that mean cherubs are sentient? But you also have the conflagrator, who just has double flamers, who just likes to flame people up, which is, you know, nice, a bit tattered, but it's all about hyping the fire. Then you have two missionaries. One has a plasma gun, and then one has not a flame, it's an incinerator, I believe, but basically a super flamer. But the other one has a plasma and a flame torch, so that one's obviously better. But those are cool. Hopefully they're not the same model. I don't think they are. While they look like they are the same, they still have minute differences. Like, as you can see on the left one, he's got this Imperial icon while that one hasn't, and they have slightly different leg poses, so those are probably two individual operatives. Then you have a new updated Death Cult Assassin, which is odd. I think the Death Cult Assassin is kind of just the weirdest one out of the entire team, because it's kind of too stocky. It's like short and hench. But otherwise, it's pretty nice. You know, you've got the double power blade instead of the long single blade the last metal one had. Then you've got the Drill Abbot, who is just a guy with a hammer, which is nice. He's also got a skull in a box, like showing people the skull in the box. What's wrong with that? Then you've got the Persecutor, who basically has the Flamer Eviscerator, which is once again kind of something from Blackstone Fortress, like we've seen with the reimagining of the leader. Then the Salvationist, which looks like an updated Mystic, but we've already got a Mystic, but this one has a death mask, so maybe it's slightly different. And then we have a Reliquant with a nice Requilary and a Flamer Pistol, and then a Miraculist, which I believe is effectively what it looks like an Imperial demon host. But, you know, instead of being demons, it's blessed with the Emperor's power. So even though it probably looks the weakest, it's probably one of the most powerful operatives maybe in the game. But all in all, that's a pretty fun team. And an interesting thing here, I have believed these are all reimagining of Witch Hunter models from like 3rd edition, so models we haven't seen updated for the new age, which is really, really nice, you know? The Inquisition team was kind of disappointing, but this team looks, in terms of models, in my opinion, but this one looks really interesting, although I am not a fan of the faces. Like, there's a lot of O faces. It's like this team has been trying to trend on YouTube, and, they're trying to maximize the thumbnails. There's a lot of O faces here, which I'm not really a fan of, but otherwise it looks really cool. I mean, I really do like the Hype Master himself. And it's interesting, you can already use like the Blackstone Fortress version to kind of proxy him. He's a bit fatter, he's a fatter Pope. He doesn't have as an impressive hat, but still a nice reimagining. Now we have the Goremongers. So these are basically Khorne cultists. They're not like jackals. They're kind of ascended jackals, because not only have they seen bloodletters, they've survived and seen them in action, because usually the bloodletters just kill everyone. But they've been so impressed by bloodletters, they've actually tried to modify their bodies as much as possible to look like bloodletters. So while you've got the Imperial team trying to hype the word of the Emperor, this team is basically all about squats for the squat throne. Like, look at those legs. They've all literally changed their legs to have robo chicken legs, like bloodletters. They want the bloodletter legs. And when you've got the Blood Herald, as you can see, he's actually modified his face/skull to look like a bloodletter. So it's actually, I believe that's not a mask. He's actually modified his face and skull to be like that. But he has a really a double sickled chainsword, which is nice. But they all have robo legs, and they also come with the compulsory tactical rocks. They surf across the kill zones with it. But I actually do like this kill team, because the Blood Herald looks pretty neat and intimidating. The Impaler has a hookshot gun, which he only uses for hookshotting and nothing else. Nothing like a Dark Reaper would. But I assume he can hookshot to people / places, vantage points with his chicken legs. So maybe you can hookshot and then do a flying robo kick in the face, which would be nice. Then you've got the Skull Claimer, who literally just has a giant axe, which, as long as he's not as disappointing as the Butcher from Legionary, it's fine. Then you've got the Stalker, who loves doing wall sprints, who has double chain glaives, which is nice. Maybe, interestingly, the Stalker has the most robotic of the legs in terms of articulation, because you can see those toes there, nice in articulation. So maybe it has a bonus to traversing and climbing, which would be nice, and can probably charge from conceal. And then you've got the Inciter, who has 2 auto pistols, but these aren't your normal auto pistols. These are your blood pistols that fire blood rounds. They're pistols made of blood. I don't know. I mean, I assume so. It would make sense. It is kind of odd in an entire melee team. You've got the dual pistols, which is fine. I'm sure they fire blood. Then you've got the Blood Taker, who just has a dagger and I believe grenades, but those are probably blood vial grenades, because a common thing with Khorne teams is, Khorne warbands in general, the blood is quite acidic, so when they throw it over you, it just melts your face. That's a nice addition there. And then finally we have aspirants, who are probably your general operatives. They also like wall sprinting, but they have chain spears. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But this team, even though it's quite muscular, I kind of prefer how this team looks over the Imperial team. I think they're more interesting. The only downside is all these tactical rocks. Clearly they were like, guys, we can't do this unless I compose. But otherwise, I respect that, but I really like the Blood Herald. The Blood Herald looks nice and intimidating. For the terrain piece that you get in Blood and Zeal, instead of getting a bunker like we did in the last box, this time we get the Imperial statue of the shrine. So this is something that came with the Sisters of Battle, the Adeptus Oriatus, and it's been re-released for this box. Now there's a really nice addition which I like. It kind of represents who's in ascendancy. So if it's still, like you're in an Imperial controlled kill zone, you can have it as the normal shrine, which is really, really nice. But if you want to represent the Khorne side, what's really nice about this book is it actually goes over, according to the website, how to defile it and make it Khornified. So blood, it's chopped down, and as you can see in the trailer, it's very Khornified, which is nice. And I actually rate that they've put that big hobby guide in the book to make it kind of more worthwhile if you're going down the narrative route, which is nice. But that terrain piece is huge. It's literally taller than most buildings ever in Kill Team. Like it's really huge. So if you think that like that statue is a bit upsetting in terms of, oh, it looks tiny, don't worry, it's huge. It's not really practical as a game piece apart from like a central piece of blocking heavy that's impassable. But it's huge. It's still a nice kit. It's at least that the terrain feature's finally been reprinted. And then the website also hints that there's a new narrative mechanic when it comes to card drawing to kind of represent the frantic nature of what's going on in this battlefield, which kind of mirrors what we got in the Inquisition versus Chaos Cult box, which would be nice to see come back. It doesn't look like we get any additional cards in the box, but we must do if they talk about that like as there, unless they mean like mission cards and stuff. And yeah, the article does show that we do get those cards, as you can see here, but you also get all the cards and tokens for the kill team. My favorite thing is people going over the tokens to try and figure out abilities. Now, interesting things, because I've looked over more of the kill team token sheets, you can actually see how the token sheets were made first and altered during game design. For example, if you look at Tempestus Aquilans, they have 3 drop markers on their token sheet but can only use 2. Hand of the Archon, they can use their poison. They have 3 of their poison tokens for each like their shooting and melee poison, but they can only use them twice per turning point. So clearly like there's some balance changes. But if you look, it's just trying to figure out like you've got this weird, I don't know, it's like horseshoe with the triangle. What could that mean? What a mysterious shape. Blood drops, are they wounded or special wounded? Then you've got like an undivided chaos mark. Chains, do they like being whipped or do they like whipping you? And then you've just got other markers. So it's just obviously there's like stuff related to blood and slaughter. And then when you've got the Imperial side, you've just got Imperial stuff, shining light. Maybe they energize you, you know, send you to the Star Trek universe. But you've got Imperial and like you've got what, purity seals. So maybe they've got ways to modify dice. But, you know, otherwise you get everything inside, which is great. Now, before we go on with my overview about the box, let me talk about rumors. Specifically, everyone disappointed that this box was not Grey Knights and World Eaters. So I was lucky enough to be shown this box in advance. So I kind of knew like the contents, not what was inside. So that was really nice. But I found it hilarious when Valrak said it would have been World Eater Khorne Berserkers versus Grey Knights. And I was like, yeah, you know what? People can just say whatever they want. But then people literally believed it as law. And, you know, whatever your feelings on Valrak, when it comes to Kill Team, he's actually been quite heavily wrong, even going as back far to last edition. So last edition, he said there would be a Space Hulk Kill Team box, which never happened. He also said, you know, we would have the Year of Flying. This is not the Year of Flying. He said there would be a Swooping Hawk Kill Team. There was not a Swooping Hawk Kill Team. He even tried to say this box would have Black Templars, and even posted a video where he said he didn't say those things and that he was right. And what's more upsetting is people getting upset that this box is not Grey Knights versus World Eaters, and like that wasn't going to happen. And the issue is, you shouldn't really be believing someone who what previously had a great track record, but as time has gone on has been way more inaccurate with his leaks. Because I personally have the feeling that Games Workshop has cracked down on his leaks. So the issue is, I still think this is an interesting box. And you've got people saying, oh yeah, you know, I'm not going to buy this box. And, you know, I've been doing this, for Kill Team nearly 4 years. And I keep seeing that, and then the box still sells out. So the thing is, it's a shame people are upset, but when it comes to rumors, you literally really shouldn't trust Valrak as much as you think. When it's closer to the release, sure, he'll be more accurate. Like, he still gets the box names right, but not the actual rumors. So it's kind of like, I think it's more of Games Workshop cracking down on who was leaking him stuff, but probably is getting stuff from the warehouse. But it's like, you know, there's still lots of stuff that he said hasn't come. Like with the Elder range, he said there was going to be new Vipers, new Corsairs, new Uriel, which didn't happen. So it's just, this is more of just a word of advice to you listeners. Be careful of rumors, because especially when it comes to Kill Team, a lot of people have been heavily wrong. So, you know, it's fine. But I think that's the main thing to cover, because I've seen so many people upset about the Blood and Zeal reveal, which I get. You know, not every Kill Team box is going to appeal to everyone, but it's just people upset because it wasn't the teams that someone promised to them it would be, which is just weird. But overall, Blood and Zeal looks like a very interesting box. I'm personally glad there are no elites in it, and I think the Goremongers versus the Sanctifiers looks like an interesting matchup, whereas the Sanctifiers work off of hype, like, you know, building up hype and faith in the Emperor. So I assume they'll have abilities that make them generate acts of, like, not acts of faith, but faith powers from probably killing stuff, dying, doing stuff. Like, we're not, like, stuff that would inspire faith in the Emperor, because that's what they do. Like, this is literally just a giant priest hyping people up, which is really cool. And then obviously you've got the Goremongers, who are kind of like World Eater scouts, but they're so impressed by blood letters they've cut off their legs and replaced them with a majestic robotic one so they can squat for eternity, to squat for the squat throne. But I like both teams. I think, as I said, I'm not a fan of like the reaction faces of the Sanctifiers, but they're an interesting kill team. They actually, people were saying they look quite complicated to paint. I think they're quite simple. It's a nice thing where they're quite plain unless you want to go further, which I think is a good thing. Whereas the Goremongers, that's going to be contrast for me. And I like the terrain piece. You know, it's especially if you have Chow Nath, that terrain piece is actually a really nice addition to Chow Nath, because it can kind of allow you to center around the board to make it more interesting, even for your normal kill zones. And then not only that, you get a new narrative card mechanic for, well, basically playing, I believe, even though it's primarily focused on like Imperial versus Chaos, it's kind of, I believe it's going to be agnostic, like it more agnostic than it was for the Inquisition and Chaos Cult box. So it can represent even if you're like two different teams. So that should be nice, especially for the narrative crowd. And you've got everything inside, and it should be cool. Hopefully releases soon, but it's a really fun box. It's just weird it dropped on a Saturday. I was expecting it on a Monday, but better late than never. I actually kind of thought it'd be dropped at Adepticon. But the other good news is, this definitely confirms we are a 4-box season. Because what I was kind of thinking, we had Hivestorm, then we had Brutal and Cunning, and then we had the starter set. And then now this box, I thought maybe we wouldn't get any more boxes after this. But because this is now being released, hopefully this month, latest, I mean, the latest it could be was April, but that means we should get another box by July-ish, August, and then we'll have another time, 3 months, for then the end of for the next season. So it means we're still on the releases and everything's brand new, which is nice, you know. People were doubting that everything would be brand new from Games Workshop. They're still expecting upgrade sprues. But the nice thing, because everything's brand new, it means we're not going to really see upgrade sprue kits, which means it's more unpredictable to what we're going to see. And another trend I've noticed is, additionally with this season of Kill Team, if you think about it, Vespids effectively replace Pathfinders. Tempestus Aquilans kind of replace Deathcore, more so Ratlings, but that's kind of a weird fusion. Obviously, Wrecker Crew replace, you know, Commandos. The Goremongers kind of replace Blooded, and then you've got the Sanctifiers who kind of replace Novitiates, which means, you know, we could potentially have another Space Marine team coming in the next box, another Eldari team or something like that. But I don't think we'll get another Eldari team because we've had Blades of Cain so recently. So maybe we could get a new Imperial team, specifically maybe Salamanders. The Salamander thing would make more sense for the kill team setting, because if you think about it, there's lots of Imperial people here on Vocus. It's a big gun. Also, Salamanders love forging stuff and they love protecting Imperial people. So it would kind of make sense from a thematic standpoint to get a dedicated Salamander kill team to kind of mimic the Nemesis Claw Nightlord kill team. But that's just literally me, like, you know, guessing aloud, because it kind of makes sense how they want to replace factions that are being rotated out. But otherwise, I'm pretty hyped for Blood and Zeal. You know, do I squat for the Scroll Throne or do I hype for the Emperor? That's what I need to decide. But that's pretty much it from me today. Please remember to like and subscribe as well as comment. Let me know what you thought of today's video. What do you think of the new kill teams, and are you as hyped for the boxes I am? And remember, I've got a Discord you can check out for free in the episode description below, an affiliate link at Element Games, an affiliate link and discount code at Crossfire Games, and a Patreon if you want to give me some more support. And I'm just going to shout out my patrons. So for my adepts of the crew, I have Tom, Super Cow Sam, Nick, Mercenary Q, Mr. Meatwad, Lucas, Jeremiah, Graham, Fangzu, Draken, Dave Meetswell, Dan, Dada Goldens, Chris, and Morpheum. And then for my veterans of the crew, I have Sandra and Mark. So thank you so much for all your support. It really means a lot to me and helps support the channel. But yeah, that was weird. I was like at an event like today as I was before I recorded this, and then they were like, "Hey John, this Russian Games Workshop website has video has released the Kill Team box." And I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And then like a minute later, they released it on all their socials. So it was really weird seeing that, especially on a Saturday when I was at a Kill Team tournament. But I played some Kill Team. It was fun. It was nice. So that'll probably be my next video. So this is an impromptu Sunday video. But otherwise, I'm hyped for Blood and Zeal. But remember, no matter whether you're a hype man of the Emperor or you just love to squat, there's always a chance to win as long as you can roll a crit.